Well, hello again. This is Brian Copeland talking. Welcome to a long-awaited edition of Copeland's Corner. This is show number 185. We've taken about 4 months off. The plan was to take the summer off, just kind of rethink the show and maybe make some changes, see what we can do to make it better. We started doing this show as a podcast right before the shutdown. I think we started maybe 2 weeks before the shutdown in 2020. And since then, we've been doing it over Zoom. I have comics on. I have people who I think are interesting. I have interesting things to say on, and we talk about some of the news of the week. So we wanted to rethink the show. We've expanded our staff. My pal, Tom Sawyer, Bay Area comedy impresario legend, is now a part of our staff, and he'll be sitting in for me on some of the weeks that I can't do the show. But you can listen to us on anywhere where you're getting your audio podcast. And of course, you can watch us on YouTube every single Thursday. So there is so much to talk about. I'm not going to catch up on the whole 4 months because there's just so much, but there's plenty. So let me bring in today's guest. We have got this week. I should mention, by the way, my setting too. You can tell we've changed where, if you're watching this as opposed to listening to it, we've changed where we're doing this. Instead of being in my family room with my pool table in the back, I'm now in the corner of my house that is down below the garage that I call the Fortress of Solitude. And no, I didn't make that up. So this you'll get my books, and I like the fact that the Cosby book is right behind me. I just realized that. The poor bastard that wrote this book on Cosby. It's like the definitive Cosby biography, but he doesn't mention the women, and it came out like the week before the first accusers came out, so it was like gone immediately. He spent like years writing this book, and that's the one that's right behind me. So let's bring on our guest, if we can do that, Charlene. There we go. I see Natasha Muse, who I have not seen in a long time. Very funny comic. How you doing, Natasha?
I'm doing well today. How are you? It's great to be here.
I'm well. Where are you?
I'm in San Francisco, right?
Oh, you're in the city.
Yeah, right in the heart, right off the Civic Center.
And our co-executive producer, our new co-executive producer, Tom Sawyer, whose shirt I like very much. And we've got Carlos Alazraqui we're going to be bringing up here in just a moment, unless he said, you know what, I didn't like the opening, screw this, I'm out of here, and I'm done with this. There he is. There he is, Rocco's Modern Life. What's going on, man?
Hey, good to see you guys, everybody. And Natasha, nice to meet you via Zoom. School, kids, Stephanie Miller radio this morning, and Twitter arguments abound.
You know what? I have stopped arguing on Twitter because there's just no point. And even on Facebook, I'm trying to. I mean, have you ever changed anybody's mind? Let's just put this out as the first question. Have you ever seen somebody post something stupid or something completely inaccurate on Facebook, and you correct them, and maybe you have sources and you post the article showing as to why what they posted is inaccurate, and had them go, oh, I didn't know that. You're right.
No, that never happens. The closest we come is we can agree upon a certain whiskey that we like.
Yeah. Or agree to disagree. That's a favorite.
I think I've convinced other people that I'm an idiot. I think that they have not known who I was, and now I don't like that person. So
yeah. Twitter's like a men's room, gas station, bathroom. You open up that shit cake stall and add your vomit to the already grossed out world that is Twitter.
Are you guys using it less since Elon Musk has taken over? I'm trying to. I'm trying Threads, but Threads is just not there yet.
Yeah. What helped is I switched over to the For You topic headline as opposed to following. The For You is much more, you can cater it towards people that are more along the lines of you. Yeah. Do you want to hear dissimilar opinions? Yeah. But if you go to the following, it is straight out misinformation and garbage and hate. So there is a way to engage on, I'm going to still call it Twitter, F Elon Musk.
Yeah, me too.
South African, do you like me? I hope people like me. I paid for people to like me. I hope you like me. God,
well, I'll tell you,
that dude needs a couch real bad.
Yeah. Well, I read an article the other day that in Beverly Hills, among all other places, the people who were buying the $100,000 top of the line Teslas, people are dumping them. People are either walking away from their leases or they're dumping them because of Elon Musk and the fact that he's given $47 million a month to Trump's PAC and all this stuff. I will know. I wanted to get a Tesla. I won't do it now. I'll never buy a Tesla.
Same here. I dreamed of getting one.
I've got one now. We got a 2018. We're going to trade it in, not because of that per se, because my wife wants to go hybrid power, but yeah, it dissuades you from wanting to buy it. And even before that, when I did buy it, there was, in the Congo, kids crawling into mines to dig out the chemical, which I'm suddenly forgetting. But there's child labor involved in all of that, even though they say that, no, we've got machines. Like you go to these giant pits and 15,000s of people just digging for the cobalt, actually.
Well, he's just an awful human being. I mean, in all different ways. I mean, the factories where Teslas are made in the United States are the lowest paying automotive companies, and they're non-union. And he's what is wrong with greed.
Yeah,
he has everything wrong with greed.
You couple it. I always direct people back to the Foxcatcher documentary, not the one with Stephen Carell. That was the movie. It was the Foxcatcher with John DuPont Jr. and a billionaire's son, sociopath that was never loved. And this repeats itself with Trump, and it repeats itself with Elon Musk. Mm-hmm. They literally cannot feel empathy because they were never loved. They're not capable of receiving or giving love, only of the desire to be desperately loved by sycophants. And therein lies the problem. They cannot feel empathy. Musk, because of his Asperger's, I guess you can't use that term anymore, apparently.
You can't?
No.
What are you supposed to say now? Special needs?
It's a different
just
term.
autism.
We were just discussing that the other night.
Yeah, I think it's just autism.
Yeah, it's a autism, but it has a special specific label, which I'm fine with. I'll learn how to say it. But because of those things, this guy he can't feel empathy. That's why they're dangerous.
Yeah, they're sociopaths. They
crave a love that they'll never get.
They're the thing about they're addicts. That's how I look at billionaires. Because Jake Johansson has this great joke about I could never be a billionaire because once I got to like 50 million, I'd be on an island. I would be drinking, I would be golfing or, having seeing everything in the world that I'd want to see and doing everything I want to do. But these guys are still working. They can't, because they're a hole that will never be filled.
Yep.
You give me $50 million, I will lose all my ambition.
Yes.
I'm not kidding.
I live in Burbank and I've lost half my ambition.
Yeah. That'll be my ambition, will be to help people and to throw hella great parties.
Yep.
Well, let's start with this.
That's too good of a party though.
Let's start with this. There are pollsters, and again, whether or not you believe the pollsters is entirely up to you. It's been hit or miss the last couple elections. The pollsters are saying that this election is going to be the closest election of the century to date. And, looking at the various polls, everything is close. I was looking at North Carolina and it's like 47, 46. I mean, there are a point or 2 points are within the margin of error. And here's my question. Why?
Yeah.
I don't understand why this is so close. I mean, these people are so diametrically opposed. It's not like, there's some overlap. So you're looking for some kind of nuance to decide. I can't understand, why is this close?
I think on the expectation on both sides is that you can get what you want, and on the Trump side and MAGA, it's like white America, get rid of all the immigrants so we can return to 1950 where the world was great for white people.
But there was never
on the other
a time
side,
where their America existed.
Yes.
Even the America that Trump is going to bring them, there's never a point where that American existed. It would have been a different country than we have right now. That's what they don't understand.
Yes. Yeah. Psychologically speaking, people are voting to get what they want, which is dangerous. And I get in arguments with third-party voters all the time, as Brian has attested to that. The whole Michigan thing and Dearborn and 600,000 Palestinian Americans, and I'm arguing on Twitter, right, that says we're going to no vote or hold our third-party vote. That's why it's going to be close in Michigan. It's like, well, what I'll do is I'll try to explain to them the consequence of that. And they'll say, well, you're vote shaming me. And I'm going, no, I'm pointing out the consequence of if you don't vote for Kamala or you vote third party, then somebody that's worse for your cause and all other causes outside of yours will be president. therefore rendering your strategy not very good. I get it. I applaud your passion. I applaud your cause. I'm just saying, I'm commenting on what will be the adverse effects. I say you have a right to vote how you want. What you don't have a right is to expect that your vote doesn't have consequences, especially in states where it's close. We can't all get what we want. I would love the Middle East to be beautiful for Palestinians and Jewish Americans. That's not possible. It just isn't. So we have to be pragmatic and we have to vote correctly. And I think that's why it's close, because people demand to get what they want. Instead of saying, holy shit, Trump is a piece of shit maniac. I don't love everything about Harris, but fuck. Yes, Harris is the only choice between two viable people who can win. So that's why it's not close, because people are expecting too much.
Let's give Natasha a shot. So what are your thoughts? Why do you think it's close?
I don't think anybody who liked Trump from the beginning has been dissuaded. And I feel like anything that happens with him, it's just more like fuel for what they like about him. Like even just being arrested, it's like, yeah, he's our guy and he's a rebel and we got, like, and being anything that he does, it just gives them more enthusiasm, more excitement for their guy.
You were saying before, like on Twitter, like arguing about Twitter, like, well, you don't think Kamala is like a morally upright person, and then they say like, well, that Trump isn't either. You can't like convince people on Twitter any more than you can convince people in real life that like Trump is somehow, a bad person. I was trying to explain to my kids about how politics used to be, and I was explaining to them about, remember Gary Hart? Here's how quaint presidential politics used to be. He was a viable candidate for president of the United States, and somebody took a picture of him with his mistress in a bikini sitting on his lap on a boat. Just one photograph, and he was disqualified. That would still be true if a Democrat had that happen. The problem is like we're living in two different universes. Like the one universe where a guy who has done everything you could possibly do to be disqualified.
Robinson, North Carolina.
There's a list that goes for days. I mean, it's a scroll now. It's not even a list. It's like it goes out to the driveway. And on the other side, if somebody misspeaks for a second, like Walsh did 10 years ago about his service, then there's outrage because the media is trying to do the both sidesism thing instead of, and nobody wants to say adjudicated sexual assaulter and self-admitted sexual assaulter. Every time they introduce the president, they'd rather say President Trump instead. So they don't want to say the guy who's been convicted of 34 felonies. They rather say President Trump. And so they normalize all this crazy shit that would be disqualifying if the candidate had an R after his name in some cases, but definitely a Democrat. No, I'm going to say no cases. There's no case I could think of. I mean, when you've got this Mark Robinson character who calls himself a black Nazi, explain that to me, first of all. I'm a black Nazi. And he puts it on a porn site. Why is it on a porn site that you're a black Nazi? That's where I put it.
Yeah, I said regarding all this, I said Nixon was just born at the wrong. Nixon timed it too late. Nixon timed it. He didn't have Fox News. Nixon's in hell going, God damn it, I should have ran today. Why did I have to run in the 70s where it mattered? And then Dean, what was his name? Dean? Who screamed? Howard Dean. Yeah. And that was it for him because he screamed. What's his name? I can't remember who ran the last time. I had him on radio as a guest who what was it they were asking him about? He didn't know. I completely forget what the issue was, and it was a word dealing with a policy, and he didn't know what the word meant. And I'm trying to think of who it was. I know what you're talking about. I can't remember. The one was opening the pickle jar and the whole thing. Yeah. I can't think. But anyway, that was it. He's out. He was out. Now you can say, soldiers are suckers. It's okay. Losers. And losers. And some commercials at their graves. And you have soldiers voting for you. It kind of goes back to what you were saying, Carlos, about third-party voters. People like on the left, they want like their person to be like this morally upright, unassailable,
element. And the people on the right are just like, we just want our guy in. We don't care if he's a piece of shit, or we don't care if he's garbage, or he's done this or that.
Yeah, and Tom, yeah, you're right. You and Tom alluded to that Democrats have to be perfect. They have to please everyone. And again, there are so many causes beyond just the Middle East. And yes, it's horrific.
And the Middle East has always been a nightmare for, we are in America. United States of America is not going to solve the Middle East.
Nope.
We can throw a little more weight around. And according to what Kamala has been talking about,
yes.
Yeah. And what she's been talking about, you have a better chance with her. Jill Stein, Russian stooge, is never going to be in office. She doesn't have a party that's going to give her any leverage.
Thank you.
She's not going to do anything. I don't even understand why people even bring her up, because
she never even negotiated a price on a birthday cake.
She doesn't even know. Did you see the interview where she didn't even know how many people were in the House of Representatives?
And Mehdi Hassan just tore her apart, because even though she's written that we condemn all war, she would not say on a broadcast with Mehdi Hassan that Putin was a war criminal. Well, we've condemned him. Why can't you say it? Just say it. Why didn't you say you've called Netanyahu a war criminal? Rightfully say, why can't you say that he is a war criminal? I'm waiting. Yeah.
Very good.
You just put right in there.
Thank you.
That was pretty good.
Thank you. Yeah. This idea that somebody this fantasy candidate that the third party has, Nader, Stein, that they're somehow going to win, and the Republicans are just going to drop over like a bad wrestler in fucking fake wrestling. No, the Republicans would still block you.
Vote. It's a protest vote, is what a lot of people will tell you. Like those people who will write in.
Well, what it is, and believe me, I go over this in therapy a lot, and my therapist will tell me, she'll say, listen, dude, you're powerless. You cannot do anything. All you can do is vote and donate money to the ACLU. What these people believe, the Jimmy Dore fans and all this, is that somehow they have power. And that's what makes these misinformation, anti-vaxxers, I'm going to not vote third party. It's a powerful thing, because it makes you feel like you're part of a cause. Because psychologically, they don't want to accept that you do not have the power to change anything. That's reality. It's hard. It's cold. It sucks, because we want to believe in the movies. There's too much money. You don't count. You go to the
get
casino.
Money out of politics and you get a chance, but until that day, forget about it.
That's never going to happen.
It's not going to happen. Your vote for this is what I was arguing about. A third party vote has never moved the needle, and there's empirical data. When you voted for Nader, you made it worse.
Wait a minute. Wait, back up. When Teddy Roosevelt ran third party, he was viable, wasn't he? Didn't he run third party? I think that's like the last time.
Way back
third party. That third party.
Before all the dark money, right? Before all the dark money came in, and before Citizens United, voting for Nader yielded the Supreme Court and yielded Citizens United, which made it worse. What people psychologically just want to believe, that they have power and a voice in this world. And you know what? You don't. All you got to do, unfortunately, we have to vote for who is less evil.
Well, not even less evil.
Well,
who's got a chance. It's we have to vote for who's got a chance. Otherwise, it's a
binary system. Let me put it this way: it's a binary system.
The other thing
we have to vote for either less than perfect. I'll take out the evil. You have to vote for less than perfect or fucking satanically, monstrously evil, and that's an easy choice. Pragmatism is not sexy to people.
Let me ask you this: What about the cultism aspect of it? Because
on both sides.
One of some analysis I heard from a psychiatrist or psychologist was that the reason why a lot of these folks will not admit that they're wrong, even when the evidence is right there, who are supporting him and they know now that they're wrong, they will never admit it, because they have grandchildren that they will never see again. They have family members who have complained, and friends, and jobs that they've lost, and they have given up so much behind this fool that if they turn around now and admit that it was all for nothing, they can't live with that.
Yeah, it's the sunken cost fallacy, right? It's like you've invested so much of yourself into it. You can't admit that you're wrong, because then you just look foolish on top of everything else that you've lost.
But that's the thing I hope for. And honestly, I don't really trust the polls, and I haven't heard many people who do. And the reason being is that I can't believe that Trump actually got more people by being a convicted felon, by being an adjudicated sexual assaulter. I can't believe people went, that's the guy for me. I was on the fence before, but since he confessed about being a sexual assaulter and he's the 34 felonies, he's become my guy.
Well, no, the deal is he's a victim. What that does is it plays into the victimhood thing, and that he's being persecuted by the deep state.
I'm talking about the middle ground. The people that are on the in the cult. We've lost those people. They're gone. I'm talking about the people that have moved the needle where it's gone from like 45 or 44% to 47 or 48%.
Yeah.
I don't believe those people exist. Personally speaking, I don't believe that all the things that Trump has done in the last 4 years, including January 6th, remember, this is, again, January 6th is included in this, that three more percentage points said, that's my guy. So I really think that the method that they haven't really figured out cell phones. They really haven't figured out how to hold young people, because I think young people are really going to push the needle. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if Kamala won by more than Biden won. It wouldn't shock me.
It wouldn't shock me either. I think you're right. Yeah. And I wanted to get back to the cultism thing that Brian brought up. The cultism exists on the left side, right? You have your Jimmy Dore fans who want to go and show up.
Jimmy Dore's not on the left, though.
No. But he's a cult figure. It's why
he thinks he is.
He's a grifter who will never criticize Trump. He won't talk about voter suppression. He didn't stand up for Brittany Griner. He doesn't care what happens on the Trump side. He'll only criticize the Democratic Party because that allows him to continue to have his audience who feels lost. And the misinformation about vaccines, it enables that part of a person that's like, yeah, Jimmy, they are lying to us. We are powerful. And again, it's manipulation and not telling people the truth that there is a binary choice in this election. He's goading people into thinking that I can make a difference. That it's such a powerful thing, and that's why Jimmy will not risk criticizing Trump at all, because
it's his livelihood.
Okay, but here's the other issue, though. It goes beyond that. I mean, if you look at what the mainstream media has done, I mean, they've done nothing but bitch and moan on the right about the mainstream media and the mainstream media being fake news or being slanted to the left and so forth, and they have given Trump such a pass. I mean, why is there not as much scrutiny now about Trump's age and whether or not Trump is senile and whether or not he has the mental capabilities to run the country as there was when Biden was in the race? Biden's out. You hear something every now and then, but it's not the same. And I'm talking about like the New York Times. I'm talking about the Washington Post. So why is it that the mainstream media is not doing its job?
Money. Well, it's all about money.
Their job is to get people to read the paper, right?
Yep.
Well, that's not going to happen.
Yes.
Well, that's the thing is they're like that that guy who is like 250 pounds overweight, but he thinks if he wears a nicer tie, he's going to get the bigs. It's like they don't like you. They're never going to like you. Stop pretending stop trying to get them to like you. CNN, I don't watch it. I've stopped watching CNN for about 4 or 5 years now, because they if I watch them for 5 minutes, I get pissed off. So I said, that's enough.
Really? Why?
Because they do the both sidesism on everything. And Scott Jennings, that asshole, it's like,
oh, he's horrible.
He's
horrible.
What
about Tapper? Do you like Tapper?
Tapper's like, and did you see Nancy Pelosi chewed out Tapper?
No, I saw the headline.
Yeah,
I saw that headline for. Well, so what did he do? What he brought up that
like that Trump said that she has cognitive issues, and he asked her, "What do you think about that?" And he's like, "Why?" She's like, "Why are you giving this guy oxygen on these statements that are absurd?"
All right, let's talk about oxygen and statements that are absurd. This morning on MSNBC and Morning Joe, his guest was former Congressman Tim Ryan of Ohio, who used to represent Springfield, Ohio.
I liked him. He was to get a debated Vance, right?
I believe so.
He was running against Vance.
Well, he said, he basically went off on Trump and Vance about this Haitians immigrants eating dogs and cats thing. And he said,
which, by the way, Jimmy Dore has not commented on.
Hasn't commented. But he says they don't give a damn about who they use, which bodies they step over in the process to gain power. There is a Haitian nonprofit group now that has filed charges against, I don't know what these charges are, what they're supposed to yield, but against Trump and Vance for these lies. You've got schools that are being closed because of bomb threats. You've got death threats against these people. How did this story take hold? It's so ludicrous. It's so ridiculous. Why is that still getting oxygen? Why did it get oxygen to begin with, other than, somewhere off in the kookiest parts of the dark web?
I think what happened and what I had read, probably wrong, was that somebody was drugged out or whatever and may have eaten a pet. Somebody's pet may have. I'm going to say may.
Oh, no, the woman came forward. The woman came forward and apologized.
Right. He said, I found my cat or whatever. And on Stephanie Miller, I said, people were eating people in Florida on bath salts, and it wasn't such a big issue, right? People were taking bath salts and chewing on people. Granted, they were already dead, but they were cannibalizing people because they were eating bath salts. And that wasn't a story. But it's because it's an election year and it fits Trump's narrative.
Yeah. Yeah, they're white people.
I mean, it just boggles the mind. I mean, it is. I don't see how this helps
Springfield
the campaign.
is predominantly Republican. On top of that,
and the Republican mayor has come forward in defense of the
and the governor, and so it's like it doesn't. It really doesn't matter. There's no line in the sand. I think I saw a video actually where there was a guy in a Trump mask and another guy with a stick on a beach, and it starts out with him drawing a line in the sand, and Trump's like, kind of hedging, and finally steps over that, and then you see behind him there's like 30, 40 lines behind him, and they go, okay, don't step over this one, so that's what it's like. Except they don't even care if he steps over a line. There is no line that makes him a bad person.
Yeah, again, it's about power. And I said on Stephanie Miller that the fact that this guy got shot in the Pennsylvania rally, the fact that Ashley Babbitt died is all on the Republicans who, after January 6th, did not say, fuck no, that guy is never running, impeach and convict, unanimous decision, easy. The fact that they let him go means that he gets to campaign where he gets to hold rallies and somebody gets shot. If they do their job, let's get a time machine, and they say, no, none of this ever happens, that fireman is still alive.
Well, I'll tell you what cracks me up.
Here's
what cracks me up is the fact that they will say, and Trump will say, that guns are not a problem in this country, but now he's giving his speeches behind bulletproof glass.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, have the plexiglass.
Yeah, that would be hilarious. You just hear ping, ping, ping.
Did you see this? So the attempted assassin that lived, a judge has been assigned to his case. Did you hear about this? Eileen Cannon.
Oh, God. Are you kidding me?
Nope. Eileen Cannon is the judge who come on. Yeah. Come on. I mean, Trump wasn't this lucky when he owned casinos. When he was bankrupting casinos, he wasn't this lucky. So it's like, and she won't, she's expected to recuse, is what they said. She should recuse, but she's not going to recuse.
Yeah.
She wants to be on the Supreme Court.
It's weird how they get to recuse. They just get to decide whether or not they're going to be moral or ethical. They just, we can't make them recuse themselves. They just have to decide that that's the right thing to do. Even when it's obvious that that's what they should be doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my understanding was that she had been talked to very sternly by a senior judge in Florida who is a Republican as well on the documents case, and was told that she should recuse herself, and she doesn't. She does. Why? There's no real law on the books.
Yeah,
and again, we're finding out the biggest problem we have in this country are norms. We don't have laws, we have norms
and traditions and so forth.
Yeah.
So we expect people to live by or to follow or to adhere to, and it's never come up before that somebody has. I mean, I'm looking today, you see Trump's latest grift? His latest grift is he's selling silver Trump coins. And what it is, it's 1 troy ounce of silver. It's got his picture on the front, the White House on the back, and his signature. And they're $100, which is 3 times the cost of 1 troy ounce of silver as of today. So this is the latest grift. I mean, it's like, I remember when it was an outrage when Ronald Reagan took, what did he get? $2 million for giving a speech after he left the White House.
Yeah.
The first thing he did was he gave a speech in Japan, of all places, for like $2 million. And it was like such an outrage. And, it's beneath the dignity of the presidency and so forth. And here you got a guy, selling, trading cards.
Well, not only that, but he just said out loud at something, just recently that he could take care of the deficit with Bitcoin. He could eliminate the $34 trillion deficit with Bitcoin. Yeah,
I know. It's just,
this guy's insane, and nobody's going, he's a lunatic. And nobody, especially on CNN, I mean, they do it all the time on MSNBC, but as soon as Trump gets elected, all those people are in the gulag. There's going to be no more MSNBC.
Oh, no, that's
frightening. It is frightening watching the guardrails come down. My wife's 20 years younger than me, and she'll get like, why are you getting
And you tell people that? And you expect, you expect to keep women fans? Really?
Yeah,
exactly. You tell people that?
It's just the way she's not an actress, so that helps.
Anymore.
But yeah,
she doesn't have to
I tell her
anymore.
that I grew up in a calmer time for politics. Was the world just as evil? Probably, but at least there was some decorum. Like I said, at least Nixon had to resign. Nixon had to resign, and he did 1 gazillionth of what Trump has done. And so, yeah, it's scary watching all the guardrails come down. And even my brother, who's always been an optimist with this country, the country always seems to right itself. Don't worry. My brother's like, fuck. Jesus Christ! What?
Well,
happened?
But there has been, there's a lot of stuff that we are finding out about the past that we didn't know about. I saw some footage recently of Joseph McCarthy's funeral. Now, McCarthy is in, he was censured by the Senate. He drank himself to death. He is, anything I've ever read about him in school or heard about him, he's been reviled. And you look at his funeral in Wisconsin, look at the footage, it's online. There were tens of thousands of people there. Mm-hmm. Tens of thousands of people there. After
he owed a lot of people money.
Yeah. Well, you got blacklisted if you didn't show up to the funeral. So.
Yeah. What was the old joke? You give the people what they want.
Didn't show.
But I mean, there have always been movements that have been led by crazies, or that have captured the imagination of this is going to sound elitist, but I'll say it: the gullible. Yeah. I mean that's it. Yeah. You were either a racist and a bigot, or you are a dupe. One of the two. And I know that's a terrible thing to say about half of America, but give me a better explanation. Yeah. Give me a better explanation.
I love the Beatles, but I didn't wear their underwear.
Yeah.
Oh, I did. I'm wearing it now.
I wore my Ringo underwear.
Yes.
The problem, I'll say it again, is that complicity is, pragmatism is viewed as complicity, and pragmatism is not sexy anymore. People, again, will want to vote so they can change the world, which is the biggest fallacy ever. And
but here's the thing: individually, no; collectively, yes. Collectively, you can make a change collectively.
Yeah, but that's been the less problem all along. That's why we have 6 conservative Supreme Court justices, because they could never see the forest through the woods. It was always like, well, I'm voting against Hillary because and which is like one of the reasons why I'm not friends with Rick Overton anymore.
Yeah,
because, because Rick's gone. He's just gone, and I have no tolerance anymore. No, I have no tolerance.
All right, I will ask you this question. We'll go from 1 to 10, with 10 being the highest number. How many, if any, friends have you lost since 2016 over politics? With 10 being the highest, would you say more than 10, fewer than 10, or none?
Oh,
I'm talking about. I lost a 40-year friendship.
If you include the anti-vaxxing thing, it's like about 20-ish.
Yeah. Maybe 3 or 4 for me. One's on a thread.
Yeah, I'd say under 10 for me.
Yeah,
it's mostly people I've known for a long time.
Mm-hmm. And then see, that's the thing. There are people though who will hear this and say, "Oh, well, okay, well, they're radicals. Anybody who'll be over politics," and that's what drives me crazy because calling us this just politics it goes again with that whole norm thing. I mean, there's a meme that's been going around on Facebook for months about don't let two people who you've never met ruin your friendships and wait in normal circumstances you could agree to disagree. I can't agree to disagree about racism. I can't agree to disagree about sexism and about assaulting women or about demonizing people because they happen to be brown or speak a different language or come from another country or worship a different god. I can't agree to disagree with you about that. Those are not policy issues. About that. Yeah. Oh, speaking of alternative facts, which Kellyanne Conway coined, her husband George has got a pack. I just saw this right before we started to record. He's got a pack, and I think it's called No Psycho Pack.
Yes,
is what it is. No Psycho Pack. Okay, so he's got 2 ads that have dropped today. Yes. We see this with 2 of the women who Trump has sexually assaulted. The one woman on the plane in 1979 in first class, who then later on he had the nerve to say, "Well, she wasn't my type."
She always says that though.
And then there was another woman who was very, they were both very credible. Another woman who was a reporter for People magazine, who went to Mar-a-Lago to do a whole photo spread and a story on Trump. And is I guess, he was married to Melania at the time, so that's not that long ago. And when Melania left the room, he pushed her against the wall and tried to kiss her and stuff. And then said, as she's walking in the room before he could hear her, Trump says to her, "You realize we're going to have an affair, right?"
This is the guy that said, "I grab women by the pussy." He said it. And then, and I'm sure most of you've seen the deposition that he did for the E. Jean Carroll case. Sure. Where he pretty much admitted, yes, again, I am a celebrity, and celebrities do grab women by the pussy.
And it's always been like that. He says, I'm paraphrasing, but then it's always, if you go back to the prehistoric times, it's always been like that.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Natasha.
I was going to say, it probably has been like that with a lot of men treating women that way. Sure. And it's just like you were saying, the guardrails are coming down, even not just in politics, but also in the entertainment business too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where along with the guardrails, the veils and the walls that
he did, the world,
the decorum.
Well, I will tell you the show that I was telling you guys about before, and I'll plug it at the end, that I'm doing starting tomorrow, that I did the last election cycle, called the Great American Shit Show. And what it is, it's 4 monologues on life in the age of Trump. One of the monologues that I did is on Me Too, and I've had to completely rewrite and redo it from when I did it 4 years ago, because 4 years ago there was a reckoning. And people were getting in trouble for it, for their behavior. And now you look at what's happened. Cosby is out. Harvey Weinstein's New York conviction for rape for 16 years at Rikers Island, that's been thrown out. Although they've got him in L.A., so he's not going anywhere. You have got Louis C.K., who was canceled for all of 5 minutes. Who is now selling out Madison Square Garden again. You've got Kevin Spacey being vehemently defended by Liam Neeson and Sharon Stone and others who say that it's time to let him out of movie jail because, quote, we need him.
Yeah, we need him.
We need him. So again, this, Me Too and Time's Up are dead. They are. Would you agree or disagree with that?
It's certainly, again, that proverbial line in the sand that is aforementioned in this show has changed, right? You can go a little bit farther before you get Me Too'd. Maybe it's an age thing, right? Maybe they're consenting adults, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I think it has died down in the wake of other news stories, for sure.
The pendulum swung at one point, I think, too far. I think the pendulum swung too far. And I think that's a problem. Yep. I mean, I think that there are people who got in trouble. I mean, there's no written. It's not just because I happen to like him, even though I've never met him personally. I've always liked him, been a fan actually. Is that Al Franken should not have lost his seat in the Senate based on that. I mean, as comics, we've all done stupid stuff. He didn't touch her, he didn't grope her. I mean, it was in bad taste and it was juvenile, but it's not the same thing as Harvey Weinstein, or Cosby drugging and raping.
Anthony Weiner sending pictures of his wiener there.
And he kept going back for more. He couldn't stop.
Yeah, like Tiger Woods.
It's like Lay's potato chips.
Yeah, you can't eat just one, right? But yeah, I think the needle has moved. We're accepting of it takes a whole lot more to shock and or to awaken us. And yeah, you're right. There were a lot of false stories, that people were crying Me Too when it wasn't Me Too. And then there are the Deshaun Watsons of the world that are still allowed to play football, after 28 cases.
But or how long it took to get Diddy and R. Kelly. I mean, why in the world? I mean, everybody, well, I'd not heard stuff about Diddy, but everybody had heard stuff about R. Kelly.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody. I mean, the Boondocks did an episode about R. Kelly 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Why did it take so long? So, but I will tell you the one that I think was unfair, and you tell me whether or not you think this was appropriate or not. And again, and I will tell you up front, he's a friend of mine. We're not super close friends. Well, I should say more of an acquaintance, but I consider him a friend. I like him very much, and that's Tavis Smiley. And Tavis Smiley had a nightly show on PBS, and it was produced by his own production company, meaning he was in charge of all the content, everything. He did the hiring, firing, the booking. It was all him.
I've been on a show
sponsored by Walmart, I think. So he lost his gig during Me Too because he had consensual relationships with two subordinates, and they talked to the women and said, "Oh yeah, he was my boyfriend." And I guess other people in the company complained because they say there's no way you could have a consensual relationship with a subordinate, number one, and number two, just the perception that all the other employees had that perhaps his girlfriend was getting preferential treatment because he's his girlfriend. That's pretty much cost him his career. And I just don't think. I wouldn't do it. For exactly those reasons.
Yeah, you don't share.
However, I wouldn't do it, but I don't think you should be putting him in the same basket as Harvey Weinstein.
I agree.
Yeah, I think it's look. Anytime there's a big shift to one side or the other, there's going to be a counter shift eventually, and also there is certain things. I'd like, for instance, Louis C.K. Louis can go back to performing stand-up because it's an individual thing that, people buy a ticket. As far as him having his movie career back or his television career back, it's over. Maybe like another 10, 15 years, they'll give him another shot, but it's never going to be the way it was. He's never going to have that same fire again because, those things are because he really hasn't, taking account of what he's done. He really hasn't taken any real responsibility. He hasn't got.
He's joking about it. He's actually joking about it in his set now.
Yeah, he's got and he, what he did was really fucked up. And
I hear that the women have been blackballed. I hear the women comics who came forward have been blackballed, and they're
did it to one of my waitresses at Cobb's.
Oh, really?
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you
before in the early days, when it was just him saying, "Hey, would you like to come back to my hotel room and watch me jerk off?"
Yeah.
Who can beat that?
Yeah. Wow.
Who can say no to
and I got some Sanka.
I wonder how many people thought
He's gonna show me his new bits.
I wonder how many people thought that was just like a euphemism for like watching him play video
He's
games.
gonna show me how his writing process.
She said she just looked at him like he was a lunatic. But that's the thing is, like, you do that, and maybe one out of every 20 women that you proposition in that fashion goes, okay, they got something going on with them that they, some damage that they need to get fixed. But then you realize, I don't like these odds. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to invite the woman to the room and then ask her then. And then then a bunch of them get up and leave, and you feel bad, you feel guilty. Well, then maybe if I just lock the door and start jerking off.
But you compare that to
so
what
this
Deshaun
progression
Watson
of
did. Deshaun
moving the
Watson is still,
goalpost.
Deshaun Watson is still playing football. That is his movie.
Refresh my memory.
Deshaun Watson, quarterback out of Clemson. Now he's quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. 28 sexual assault cases against him.
Good Lord.
All massage therapists that said he went too far, demanded happy endings, yada, yada. Not one, not two, 28.
And so had there been criminal charges, a civil suit,
all kinds of stuff. Yeah,
fines from the NFL, any of that kind of stuff.
You're allowed to be drafted by the Cleveland Browns.
Don't bend the knee.
Something million. Yeah, but don't bend a knee during the anthem. Yeah, that's a bridge too far.
Yeah.
So there are certain cases where if you're good at something, if you are bringing in money, Lawrence Phillips, famously, Tom Osborne, revered in Nebraska, America's Coach Osborne. At the time Lawrence Phillips was playing for him, he dragged his girlfriend down the stairs, Lawrence Phillips. And Osborne just looked the other way and says, well, you going to play on Saturday for me because we got a big championship game going around. It's always been like that. If you can make somebody money, they will do everything to do to keep you making them money. You know.
I mean, how long did it take for Aaron Hernandez to actually finally lose his job? He had to kill somebody. Had to get arrested for murder. Not even murder somebody because he'd already done one. He had to get actually arrested for murder.
That's Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer turned a blind eye at Florida. So,
and how many chances did OJ get? Yeah, I mean, in terms of Hertz and his sponsorships and things. I mean, they knew about the assault with Nicole, about the first court. There was some. I don't think he was arrested, but there were some charges, and she recanted. Yeah, she recanted. Oh, we were drinking and we had a bad night, and which is what happens.
What you do if you don't want to get hit again.
Yeah. All right. Well, see, we're trying to fix the world. Yeah. Talking about changing things. We're here right now trying to fix the world.
It's scary. Yeah. It's scary.
I want you to know that I'm recording all of this. So if you say any bad words.
Yeah.
Well, we're already banned from Twitter. You guys took care of that. We're banned from Twitter now. So Elon's not going to have us on. And I'm not gonna get my drive-in described gig with Tesla now either. I guess that's gone.
Do a Rivian.
Let's let me throw this out. Okay. So
and there goes
Taylor
your
Swift endorsed Kamala. Oprah has endorsed Kamala. Scarlett Johansson, Brad Pitt, George Clooney, all of these
Billie Eilish.
And there are no big, you got the Kid Rocks and the Chachis and those guys who were endorsing Trump. The Kevin Sorbos, Hulk Hogan, and those kind of people. and so Trump is attacking Kamala's celebrity endorsements, saying that the fact that those people are endorsing her shows that she's out of touch with regular Americans.
Oh, okay, yeah, the guy who flies on a big fucking plane with his name on it. Okay, golden toilet guy. Yeah, of course he is. I'm going to be the protector of all women. I hate Taylor Swift. I'm going to protect women. God, yeah.
That's what he...
Yeah.
Oh, that was Vance.
That was creepy.
Oh, no, that was Elon.
That was Elon. Or Leon. About giving her a baby or something like that?
Said that.
Leon, yeah.
Elon.
But again,
Leon Musk
from the mind
his half-black brother, Leon Musk.
From Leon Musk.
Leon Musk.
I ain't South African. I'm just African. Again, from the mind of a sociopath who thinks in his own dumb way that that's funny because the paid sycophants will laugh at that, where regular people just go, "Ooh, dude, creepy. What's come on."
Yeah, cringy, creepy, weird. These guys are everything. And I think that's going back to the friend part. I think that's the problem, is that why we lost, because I had a lot of people not a lot of people, but I had enough people in my life that were definitely Republicans, but it wasn't the same concept. It wasn't the same stakes. The stakes were different. It was just, we'd go to a war. Bush was a war, went to Iran or Iraq or whatever. It's all those shitty things that make them a bunch of money, that they corrupt things and stuff. But now we're talking about the end of our country. We're talking about the end of America.
Yeah.
And
if you can't figure out the stakes are that high, then you're gone.
Well, see, here's the thing with me too, it's not a Democrat and Republican thing with me. It has nothing to do with being a Republican as far as I'm concerned, because these people
are a lot of Republicans that are, look, Liz
I'm on Dick Cheney's side. Yeah. I'm on the same side as Dick Cheney.
That's weird. Strange.
That's weird.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Hey, Copeland, you want a spoon?
Dick Cheney and his daughter and me, we're all on the same bus. I mean, if you'd have said that'll happen someday.
You still got to sit in the back.
What
did I say?
Yeah, and that's what cracks me up is about. Then you get people that on the left that go, yeah, well, don't you see the problem with that? I go, No, we're all saying the stakes are that high.
Yeah.
Where I could go with somebody who I think, I don't like those people.
Yeah.
But
What?
But if they can bring 10 people over to vote for Kamala, I'm in. Good.
I'm
Thank
in.
you very
All right.
much.
All right. Now let me ask you guys this, okay? Because we are about 45 minutes into the show, and we have spent 45 minutes Trump bashing. We have. So I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to recuse myself, and I'll explain to you why in a second.
Okay, Judge
All right,
Cannon.
tell me something. Tell me something that I wouldn't recuse if I were Cannon. Tell me something that you don't like about Kamala or Kamala's campaign. Something that you don't like, and I'm recusing because I know her personally, and I've noticed that she ran for DA of San Francisco and liked her. I've always liked her, so I can't be unbiased about this. Is there something? I saw a headline from the Daily Beast or something. I was skimming and I didn't see the article, but supposedly her campaign's falling apart. But it was one outlier article, so I don't know what they're talking about.
I haven't heard anything like that.
Tell me one thing that you don't like. Tell me one thing that bothers you, or is there anything?
Oh shoot, we lost you.
No,
We lost your.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I wish that she would.
Natasha.
Yeah, there you are.
Yeah, there we go. Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I just said Oh, sorry. Can you hear me? Oh, I just was saying I wish that she would court people towards the left instead of trying to build bridges with these people on the right. I feel like she could get the votes that she needs coming more in this direction and not mostly with the Middle East. I think with supporting Israel the way that she does, I would rather that we don't spend all that so much money giving to them.
I think she could be tougher with
that could be met with money
Israel
here in America.
on Palestine for sure.
But
the thing that bothers me is the I worry about about her being stale on the pat answers. She. When I watched the Oprah thing, it was so much of the same stuff I heard at the convention, same stuff I've heard at some of her rallies, the same answers. You have to make them seem off the top of your head. You have to make them fresh. Even if you're saying relatively the same thing, but if you say it the exact same way every time,
you're an automatron.
Yeah, it feels stale, and it feels like I'm checked out because I get the impression that I'm not going to hear anything different than I've heard before. And I get that people always say, I need more details. I need more details, even though they don't want details.
No,
the details are on the website. If you want details, they're there. Read them. Or hey, how about you, news media? Why don't you report on them? They're on the website. Report on the details.
Yeah. The one thing I will agree with you. I wish that she would be more off the cuff and be tougher on Israel, but we have to realize it's an election year. She cannot both please people in Dore, Michigan, and also at the same time offend the Israeli lobby. It's an election year. She unfortunately right now has to wade right down the middle carefully to win. Once she wins, that is the point where I want the left to apply pressure. But
agreed.
You have to be, again, pragmatic. She can't give you what you want on the Middle East. We were not going to get it because that risks losing the Israeli or Jewish American vote. She has to steer right down the middle. What pisses me off is Trump doesn't have to answer to any of that. He just says, I'm going to make it better. It never would have happened, and I'm going to make it better. That's what pisses me off. Why does Kamala have to please both sides? Why aren't we asking, when these people from Dearborn that I'm arguing with on Twitter, you realize if you withhold your vote, like I said, you're going to get something where you don't ask it of Trump. Nobody is demanding that Trump tell Israel to back off. So unfortunately, the Democrat is the one who has to steer clear down the middle. And I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't like it, but I accept it because she has to win the election.
All right. How much of the Biden administration's legacy does she carry? Because that's one of the arguments as well. She was going to do all this stuff. She's had 3.5 years to do it. Why isn't she already done it? Well, she's not the president. That's why
Vice presidents can't do that, and the Republicans blocked anything good. There was a woman on TikTok that was just going over everything, how the bills work, what they need to pass the Senate, and this and that. They get blocked. The border legislation. She and Biden came up with conservatives on the border, and Trump killed it. I think she probably was getting close to negotiation with. And by the way, the Middle East, freaking Israel is protesting more against Netanyahu than we are. The people in Israel are. So, but yeah, she was looking for solutions, but she's being blockaded by this Republican House and Republicans in the Senate. And vice presidents really don't do that much.
Well, she said that she'll work to get rid of the filibuster in the Senate.
And I like that.
Which was I like that idea too.
Love it.
To make sure that women get their reproductive rights back. Well, if she wins, if she doesn't have a Democratic Congress, it's we're
honestly,
not much better.
I'm more worried about her seat than I am. I think the House is locked into the Democrats this time around because they have such a small the Republicans have such a small lead. And I can't believe after watching that shit show for like the last 2 years that they're going to pick up seats. But actually the Senate's looking really good as well. I mean, there's a lot of close races and a lot of races that were close before that have moved towards the Democrat side.
Would you see the news this morning? We're very close to a government shutdown again on October 1st.
Yeah.
And
Mitch McConnell even said, dude, election year, you're out of your minds.
Yeah.
Well, they're doing it with Democrats. The Republicans in the House have defected, and so the Speaker has gone with Democratic votes in order to get it passed.
Yeah.
So that shows how extreme they are.
Yeah.
Thank you for showing us. That's what I keep telling. Thank you. Get Marjorie Taylor Greene more on the TV. Get those people more out there and give them the microphone. Bobbitt, all those,
Boebert. Hey, I haven't been following her lately. I've seen much about her lately. Is she expected to win her race? Because it was like a ruby red district, which is why she moved. Because the district that she had been representing, she had no chance in hell of getting reelected. But the one that she's in, so how's it? I haven't been following her at all. Did you guys know how she's doing?
I do not know. But one thing we glazed over is that you have a personal friendship or have met Kamala. And we just glazed over that. What are your impressions? Since you have a relationship with her, or you know her,
I haven't talked to her. It's been years since I've talked to her. But yeah,
what have you seen?
I'll tell you my experience. What are you
displeased with?
I will tell you how it is. The way that I met her was when she was running, and I tell the story in the new show.
Wait a minute, Brian. When you met her, was she Indian or was she black? I gotta know.
I'm just gonna get in trouble when I say that. Never mind. So she's running for DA. It's her first campaign, and she was running against Terrence Hallinan. And Terrence the Hallinan family is it's a name that has been in the DNA of San Francisco for generations in terms of politics and law. And he was the incumbent DA. And, comes from money, walked into my studio. I was doing a show for KGO radio in San Francisco at the time. I had a Sunday morning show. And so I had a debate between the two of them. So he comes into my studio and he just, like people will come in and they just, the way they stand, they have this just sense of entitlement. And, I will shake your hand, because it's perfunctory and you should be happy that I'm shaking your hand. It was like one of those kind of things. Only time I ever met the man. And then she came in and was, thanks for the opportunity and blah, blah, blah. And, just very, I liked her when she came in. So the way the format is I would have a question and they would take turns in terms of who got to go first. I had a timekeeper and each person got 2 minutes to answer the question. So he would, if he was first, he'd answer his question. And then when it was her turn, he would act exactly like Trump acts. He would talk over her. He would try to shout her down. He would cut her off. He would, dismiss. It was just really, and part of me is thinking, is this because she's black or is this because she's a woman? Because if this, a guy would have popped him one the way he was acting. And so finally, at one point, she said, and this is what ended it, when she said, Terrence, shut up. Oh, this is over live air. No, she said, shut up, Terrence, over live air. Mm-hmm. And he was just flabbergasted because it was like, how dare somebody speak to me that way? Nobody's ever talked to me like that before. It was like, that was kind of his reaction. So this is on a Sunday morning. The election was on Tuesday and she won. Wow. Which was a surprise. She won, became the first woman DA of San Francisco, first person of color DA in San Francisco. So she came back the following Sunday which is a big deal because usually politicians, unless you're friendly with them personally, won't come on unless they're running because they don't need you. But she came on. And I said to her, this is on the air, I said to her, how did you deal with that last week? He was so nasty. I mean, he treated her like dog shit. He stepped in, and I'm not exaggerating. If anything, I'm downplaying how bad he was. And I go, how did you, he was just so mean to you. And she laughed and she goes, oh, I'm a prosecutor. I deal with fools like this all the time. That's what she said. And from then we kind of became friendly. We became friendly. Yeah. She would come out. In fact, she was one of the first people who congratulated me when Not a Genuine Black Man. It was a hit in San Francisco. I got a call from.
Yeah.
But not so much once she became the AG and moved to Sacramento. I don't think I've talked to her since then. So it's been a while. It's been a while. But for a while, I talked to her a lot, and she would come on all the time.
She hasn't. That moxie hasn't changed. She treated.
No. And she was classy, and she knew her stuff, and they were trying the same smears. And I'm not going to say what they are because I don't want to give them air. But you've all heard the smears that the right is using regarding her and her rise to politics. And I know all the parties involved, and it's bullshit. It's not true. It's just flat out untrue. I'll say it. But I think she'll do a great job. I think she has not had a chance to shine, in the vice president's role because, quite frankly, you're not supposed to.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? Has anybody seen the Lincoln Project ad with Sam Elliott?
Yeah, it's great. We do know Stephanie Miller dropped an F-bomb.
Yeah.
We're tired of the same fucking thing. Let's just vote for somebody decent.
It's so Sam Elliott.
It's so great.
Yeah.
That's what I said on Stephanie.
I want you to waltz right into that voting booth and grow some Harris on your cojones and vote for blue.
I'm sorry, Tom. You do it better. You have a deeper voice.
If you men out there don't understand, who want to see a woman in office, get over yourselves.
Pretty much.
I've not seen it.
Oh,
yeah,
you got to see it.
It's a great ad.
Great.
But I wanted to get back.
I want him to run it everywhere.
We all said that we would love to see Kamala do more for the Palestinian cause in the Middle East. I think the difference with us is that if she doesn't promise to do it, that doesn't mean I'm not going to vote for her.
Right. Because it's just too much at stake.
This is where I get mad of these people that are third-party voters that say, we demand it. Well, that's fine. You can demand it. But what if it doesn't happen? Now you're going to do it out of spite. Now this is not a pragmatic choice. It's an emotional reaction. It's not a response.
But also
you're getting pissed and you're going to hit and punish her because you're not getting what you want. That is dangerous. So yes, we would love her to come further left. But I'm saying, even if she doesn't, because it's an election year, I'm going to be pragmatic, like Bernie Sanders, like Dean Obeidallah, who's Palestinian American. You can follow Dean on CNN and follow him on Twitter. Pragmatism is the way to go, especially during an election year.
I agree with you 100%.
Yes.
Look, you're very right on this issue.
Thank you, Bernie.
I think that I always look at like who do I have the best chance to fix something that I want fixed?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And that hasn't been the case for Republicans in forever. And it's mainly because Republicans have been chasing racists for a long time. And Trump
going back to Nixon when the Southern strategy.
And I was telling some guy I was golfing with, and he got really, really mad at me. And he avoids me like the plague now because he just said, you know what? Here's my little thing. I vote against the guy the Nazis like.
Yeah.
That's where I do. If the Nazis go, he's my guy. He's not my guy.
Well, see, that's the thing. It's like Trump was endorsed twice, formally endorsed by the Ku Klux Klan. They have a newspaper. Did you know that? I had no idea until they endorsed them in 2016. They had the KKK has a newspaper.
It's a newspaper. It's all white. There ain't no black ink on it.
It's all the news fit.
It reads quick that way.
Quick read. This is where I have a problem.
How do you say I'm on the same side that they are? But then again, you could go back to when they were Democrats. You could go back to when the South,
What's worse is how do you stay silent on that? And again, I'm going to go after the Rob Schneiders and the Jimmy Dores of the world who say that, oh, Trump isn't racist. I said, at best, he's blowing the dog whistle for racism, and that's
he's not blowing the dog whistle. He's yelling into a
He blew the dog.
Yeah, he blew the dog whistle. But so I have a problem with people that will stay silent on that. They'll talk about how bad the Democrats are, how Kamala's not giving us what we want, but they will stay silent on the racism that Trump is because they don't want to lose their grift. They don't want to lose their audience. And I'm more pissed off at people who will admit, like Glenn Greenwald, like Jimmy Dore, like Elon, who rail against censorship. And I'm like, you fucking censor yourself from the other truth. You write about one thing only. You will not write about Trump's racism. You will not write about voter suppression. You will not write about women losing.
Trump's an admitted sexual assaulter, for God's sakes. That's the thing that drives me nuts.
Fucking Rob Schneider, if you have any balls, fucking do comedy on how shitty Trump is. Don't be afraid to lose your fucking grift. Go for it, dude.
Yeah, but they do. That's what they're paying a mortgage. That's where, as soon as you get locked into that, you're screwed. Your opinion. So that's
when
why
you've got something,
me and Brian
when
are
you've got
working hard
something
to
to
make
lose.
this show not have an audience.
Yep.
Because we don't want advertisers.
What we
want.
want.
Once we get advertisers, then we're slaves of the advertisers.
It is wild how there's just that attitude of like, well, Republicans will be Republicans. What can you do? And then meanwhile, on our side, we're like, we need to hold you to the highest standard we can possibly imagine. And anytime you fall short of that, we're going to cry and shout about it.
Which is why we lost Roe v. Wade.
Mm-hmm.
Because we shouldn't have. Hillary should have won. Gore should have won.
Correct. Thank you, Rob Schneider.
Even more so than that, I mean, the seat that was stolen from Obama.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where it starts.
Before an election, 293 days is too soon before election. It takes me 294 days to walk from my room to the kitchen to get my lettuce.
Oh, good Lord.
Asshole.
With that, we are out of time.
Okay.
With that, we are out of time. After this show, I don't know whether we should be plugging stuff or not, but I'll give you the opportunity. In case somebody wants to come out and see you in person, where can they do that?
Yeah.
Nobody's saying anything.
Oh,
Natasha?
I have a website, natashamuse.com, and I put up stuff on there, some writing and whatnot. And I'm performing. Where am I performing? I'll be performing out in Gilman's Brewery out in the beginning of October.
Hey, we're all around the place. So where exactly is that?
What's that?
In terms of viewership and listeners, we're all over the place. So it's not just Bay Area. So tell people where that is.
Oh, sorry. That's out in Berkeley, outside of San Francisco.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Gilman Brewery. I'll be there on the 11th of October. I think that's my next thing. I've been trying to get my momentum back since my second round of being in seclusion. But I do have some writing on natashamuse.com, and I'm on Blue Sky and Threads and Twitter, because after the diaspora, I don't know where everybody went.
Yeah.
So people are still on Twitter, but they're not really, and it's kind of a cesspool like we talked about. So
the stuff's not normal yet. They're not back, and audiences aren't back.
I'm starting a new social media site called Poop Village.
.com.
Yeah.
Or would it be .org?
You can find me on the socials.
Come on and be a pooper.
I want to be a pooper. I'm on Twitter.
Okay, Carlos, how about you?
I'm on Twitter. I'm on Twitter. I'm never going to call it what Elon wants. I'm on Twitter. I'm on TikTok. TikTok and Instagram are my happy places. No politics. It's all about what I'm doing. I'm doing a con in Chattanooga, Tennessee. The Chattanooga, Tennessee.
We should say
Comic-Con.
convention because we've been using con in a different
Comic-Con convention.
I'll be doing
October 26th and 27th, and I'm traveling. I will also be there with Riley Alazraqui, who is the voice of Rock Talk on Star Trek Prodigy. You can watch seasons 1 and 2 on Netflix.
That's cool.
Rock Talk. And so both of us are doing a convention together, October 26 and 27. I'll also be at, SplatCon, October 19 and 20. That's in Los Angeles, near the Los Angeles airport. But you can check that all out on my Instagram and TikTok. That's my happy place. Twitter is where I go, and here's where I go to rant and get political.
Okay, and Tom, anything you want to mention?
You can see the documentary on myself and Cobb's Comedy Club, my former club, called The Comedy Club on Tubi, on Plex, and on Amazon. Also you can go if you want to see some amazing pictures for over the years of Cobb's and lots of cool stuff. You can go to TomSawyerVoices.com. and stroll down memory lane.
Stroll down memory lane. And I want to mention I have got a new / old show that is opening tomorrow. Well, I should say today. This drops on Thursday at the Marsh Theater in Berkeley. I'm gonna do about the goal is to do about 12 of these before the election, and it's something that I did with Charlie Barron, who's another performance artist, solo performance artist here in the Bay Area. And back in 2019, we did a show called The Great American Shit Show. And what it was monologues on life in the era of Trump. I did 2 monologues. He did 2 monologues. So I thought I was done with this. The only reason we stopped it before was because of the shutdown. And so I thought, okay, now Biden won. He's going to go away. I'm done with this. And once this campaign started, I actually had people go on, you need to talk about this again, please. You're saying what it is and I'm thinking, and I'm not able to get it out. So, all right. So this time Charlie's not doing it. I'm doing it alone. I wrote 2 new monologues. I updated the other 2, and it's going to be a bunch of different places. It's going to be at the Marin Civic in San Rafael coming up next month, Alameda, California next month, San Francisco. We're going to be at a bunch of other dates. So for ticket information, just go to my website, which is briancopeland.com. And there's ticket information and links to all of the box offices where you can pick up your tickets to see this show. And I'm straight up about it. I put it on all of the publicity. If you love Trump, you're going to hate this show. I said that's our tagline. If you love Trump, you'll hate this show.
I bought the T-shirt. Yeah.
Correction. If you love the truth, you'll hate this show.
Yeah. So, but it's all the things. I talk about Me Too. I talk about losing friends. I mean, all the stuff. So there are 4 different pieces. 4 different pieces, and I hope that we end on I'm trying to end on an optimistic
if you love lies,
note.
You'll hate the show.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, by and large. So Natasha Muse, Carlos Alazraqui, always a pleasure. Thank you both very much for being on. Tom, you're going to see all the time. Tom's going to be on all the time, and again, filling in for me when I'm on vacation or sick or whatever, not able to do the show. So Tom, officially welcome.
Next week we'll have Nagayo Bilam, Tony Kameen, and who am I forgetting?
Who are you forgetting?
I am forgetting.
Yeah.
I'm forgetting somebody that you.
Dan St. Paul. Dan St. Paul.
And so I won't be here next week. So it'll be those 3 dudes.
So great show next week. Thanks, you guys. It's nice to be back in the saddle. Yeah. So we'll check you out next week. Until then, be kind to your neighbor. He knows where you live.